know how to serve.
You done broke our window. You done stole our food. And now you asking for a job?
Back in Macon, I'm a house. I got lots of them. They're all different, too.
Wait, when I got the job, and this is going to really tell a negative story about me, I didn't know who the guy was.
I feel like to point a gun at another human being and pull the trigger.
When a Christian does something wrong, he or she has to make amends.
I really did. I didn't know who the guy was. And then I find out that this is one of the most phenomenal musicians and artists there is.
At the arrest tonight, I was wrong in hitting you.
Yeah, you was wrong.
No way to divide 3 and come up even. Now we are in it.
Working with him was sensational. He's one of the most professional people that I've had an opportunity to work with, actor and or musician.
Baby. I'm sorry.
He didn't chase hype, he shaped it. Tonight, you get the clean timeline behind a real industry fight. A soldier-trained actor who used contracts and choices like weapons. From a Harlem start to a Broadway breakout, to a TV badge that rewrote the rules, to one giant paycheck he rejected on principle, every move left a mark you can follow. You'll hear the dates, the deals, and the fallout that came with saying no to easy boxes and yes to craft. What line would you refuse to cross if it cost you money? Where does integrity sit in your own playbook? This is Clarence Williams III News with receipts. And the only Clarence Williams III scandal we're tracking is the quiet war he won by staying exact. Want a story you can trace without fluff? Just facts that stack? Good. Let's go straight to the choices that made the man. Now, he was born in Harlem on August 21st, 1939. And the paperwork of his life starts there with a birth date that links a family of working artists to a kid who learned self-control early. His father made music for a living. His grandfather, the jazz publisher and composer Clarence Williams, wrote with legends and treated ink like proof. Money was not always easy, so he moved between relatives and leaned on his grandmother when the household shifted. You buy control when you refuse a role that warps your face into something you do not believe. The accounting makes sense over time. You build a library of work you can own without apology. Clarence Williams III Scandal fits into this record only as a false label that points to a real fight about content. The scandal people look for does not exist. The dispute is all business, him versus low bars. So the file continues with measured progress. From 2003 to 2007, he appeared as Philby Cross in the Mystery Woman film series on the Hallmark Channel. A steady set of credits that reads like a contract-based rhythm. He also took thoughtful television roles, including guest turns that kept the craft sharp and the schedule honest. Legal facts marked the personal file with the same clarity. He married Gloria Foster in 1967. He divorced in 1984. They remained close until her death in 2001. He later married Kelly, and he is connected in records to a daughter, Jamie Phillips. Those lines stand. They do not need polish. They simply describe a timeline that sits beside the work. In money terms, public filings and reliable estimates place his net worth in the range of $2 million, built on decades of credits and the kind of endorsement income that follows sustained professionalism. Does a smaller net worth mean the stand was not worth it? Or does it prove the point that value is measured in what you refuse? Which ledger matters most to you? His craft answers by example. He kept his private life quiet and let the work speak. He read widely, listened to jazz, and kept a small circle. He used the discipline that came from the army and the stage to turn stillness into a weapon on camera. He could hold a beat before a line and make the next word land like a signature. That restraint is a skill you can document across roles and years. Each credit shows the same method. Study the part, strip it of truth, and only then deliver. Clarence Williams III News serves here as a handle for that exact method, because a clean record needs a clear tag. The same tag keeps this story focused on the real clash. When the industry dangled a template that would have been easy to sell, he answered with no. That no was simple, legal, and final. It established terms for future deals and set a bar for how his image could be used. That is how leverage is built. Make one strong decision, stick to it, and make the next decision from the new ground. Have you ever held a line like that? Did it cost you something in the short term and buy you freedom later? That is the math that runs under this whole timeline. The projects that followed show consistency. When a script needed a presence that could carry authority without volume, he fit. When a director wanted controlled danger, he fit. When a role demanded gravity that would not spill into melodrama, he fit. The work matches acclaim. Nothing here depends on rumor. It stays in credits and contracts, the two places where a career is recorded without spin. Clarence Williams III Scandal appears again in this script as a phrase that misnames what happened. The heat in this story is not tabloid heat. It is the friction between a low expectation and a higher choice. That friction shaped his lanes and gave other actors a path to follow with their own names on the paperwork. If your job hands you a form that makes you smaller, will you sign it or will you rewrite the lines? This is where the influence line sits, and it is a straight line. Actors who build careers on precise, grounded work, names like Forrest Whitaker, Jeffrey Wright, and Michael Kay, Williams, walk a lane that rewards detail over flash. They prove that a quiet decision can echo for decades without any need for a crowd. Back to the record. Stage training built the base. Television proved reliability. Film sharpened edges. Everything connects. He was never late on the truth of a part. He did not chase volume. He chased accuracy. That is why he could step into a father in Purple Rain and make the room shrink to a piano bench and a broken man without a shout. That is why he could play Bumpy Johnson and let the weight sit in a glance rather than a speech. Do you prefer a performance that hits hard or one that yells? Which one lasts longer in your memory? The calendar holds the last legal entry with clarity. He died on June 4th, 2021, aged 81, with colon cancer listed as the cause. The record closes there. The work remains available, and the choices remain legible. Here the file marks another entry with a label that keeps things easy to track. Clarence Williams III News. And here the file reads like a noisy label again. Clarence Williams III Scandal. Those words only help if they point to the contract fight, the casting standards, and the payoff that followed a firm no. Which chapter in this path hits you hardest? The soldier years, the Broadway pivot, the mod squad leverage, the film run that prized control, or the personal lines he never crossed? How would you rank those turning points if you were teaching a class on work and integrity? Now bring the timeline back to the start and lay it against the outcome. A Harlem childhood taught resilience. A service record drilled discipline. A stage debut set a standard. A TV breakthrough built leverage. A film career confirmed that restraint can carry a scene farther than volume. A single refusal mid-career showed where he draws a line. Add those steps and you get a career with no loose claims and no need to explain motives. You can track it all in dated entries. That is why the script keeps repeating a simple map tag like a file folder. Clarence Williams III News. And that is also why a label that hints at gossip falls away when you test it against the record. Clarence Williams III Scandal. Now consider the name by itself, because a name on a contract is a promise. Clarence Williams III learned early that the promise had to be kept, even when the money tempted a shortcut. Clarence Williams III reads scripts like agreements to tell the truth. Clarence Williams III moved through sets with purpose learned from the jump, land, breathe, wait, act cadence. Clarence Williams III protected his image, so it could not be rented to sell a lie. Clarence Williams III balanced work and privacy with a steady hand. Clarence Williams III kept the focus on the job and let the ledger talk when the scene wrapped. What part of that discipline do you want to try in your own work week? What promise have you put your name on that you will not break? That brings us to the final focus on Fallout. The direct effects include fewer easy parts, more selective calls, and a filmography that can be shown to a young actor as a model of control. The indirect effects show up in the rooms where deals are made. A reputation for saying no to weak material raises the quality of the offers that arrive. It also clarifies the budget lines that matter. Producers who want shortcuts learn to call someone else. Producers who want depth learn to call you. This is how a stand becomes a system. And this is why the only headline that belongs to the story reads like a filing tag rather than a shout. Clarence Williams III News. The old noisy label appears here one last time to underline the contrast, and then retire. Clarence Williams III Scandal. With the file closed, one question remains for you. Which decision on this map would you have made differently and why? Which date or document tells you the most about what power really looks like when it stays quiet and precise? Answer that, and you understand the whole case.